Unconventional Life, the show where we are on a mission to inspire and empower people to live a life by their own design. This is your host, Jules Schroeder, tuning in today from Newport Beach, California. Today's guest is Zach Benson. He is the CEO and founder of Assistagram, an Instagram ad agency that has a collective reach of over 205 million people. In addition, Zach is a dancer, having appeared on the show So You Think You Can Dance. And this guy has got travel mastered. He literally has stayed at over 100 plus five-star resorts for free this year, and the number keeps on going. Let's go ahead and get started on today's segment. Unconventional Life, welcome. We have got Zach Benson joining us in Newport Beach, California,
What's up, guys? Everyone.
I've left the mountains of Colorado and you've left wherever you are in the world.
Yeah, Bali, Vietnam, just flew in.
All over. And so, as I said in the introduction, Zach Benson is the Instagram connoisseur. This man literally reaches over 205 million people through his company, Assistagram. Not only that, he works with a lot of high-end companies such as the Ritz-Carlton, the Four Seasons. And when I think about personal branding and millennials and building an influence, you know, you're really the guy to go to.
Yeah,
and
thanks.
so welcome to Unconventional Life. Fill in any gaps that I might have left out and give us a glimpse into your personal life.
Yeah, well, I'm super blessed and happy to be here. You know, like I said, it's another country, another culture every single week. This month I'll be in 5 different countries doing, tourism, influencer campaigns with all these top brands around the world like Dubai. And just living this travel life, so pumped to be here.
I love it. So part of why I wanted to have you on the Unconventional Life show is there's so many, it's become the millennial culture where it's less even about your company in a lot of means, but it's more about your influence. And, even to get a book deal, to have a TV show, any of these things, people want to see the influence as a form of credibility, just like how, your resume was in, say, the conventional model. So what's up with all this influence and why is it important? What does being an influencer mean to you and what are you starting to see?
Well, leadership is influence, right? So the more followers that you have, it creates this perception like, wow, this person has so much power, so much leadership. This person is amazing. I should be following them, interacting with them, connecting with them. So it's kind of like a numbers game, the bigger numbers that you have nowadays, it equals just your popularity and opportunity, right? So when you have so many followers on Instagram, whether you're a model or an actor, it's just easier to book jobs and seal deals. So that's why my company is so big and successful, and so many people want to reach out to us because they want to grow their social media following, their brand, and then which leads to more sales and business. Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know Zach, not only are you an Instagram guy, but you are also a dancer. You made the appearance on So You Think You Can Dance, and you bring a lot of passions into your life as well. And so tell us just a little bit of a glimpse, if we were a fly on the wall in your story before Zach Benson in California, blue suit and tie, what would we have seen as we shaped, as your lifestyle shaped up?
Yeah, flashback 15 years, I was a super quiet, nervous, shy guy. All my friends could tell you, I didn't say the letter R until I was in my 20s. I struggled with a speech impediment, struggled a lot with fitting in, and I didn't have a lot of friends. So back then life was really hard for me until I found dance, and dance became my voice, that platform that I could just simply express myself, show people what I was about, my passions, my dreams. And I always thought to myself, if I could say the letter R, I could do anything in life. And once I found that voice through dance, because dance built up my self-esteem, my confidence, and everything, eventually found my voice and started speaking. So that's kind of how I built it up. But dance was definitely the thing that helped me take things in my life to the next level.
Yeah. And when I think about being a dancer, it's inherently more in the realm of art. And so how did the entrepreneurship journey start to merge with dancing once you found your confidence? Was that always in your blood, or was it kind of an accidental stumble?
Yeah, I feel like I was always dreaming when I was a kid. I was younger, I was man, I wish I could travel the world, teach dance everywhere I go. That's the dream, getting flown out on a jet, studios paying for my hotel and everything. And so it took me a long time to make that dream into reality.
Yeah.
Like it took about 5 to 7 years of hard work. But eventually, I started getting paid for it. Very little. Like I remember the first time I got paid like $50 for a summer. I was teaching 1 hour of class every single day. I was like, sweet, I'm doing what I love and I'm making money.
Yeah.
But I was also getting kind of screwed over. But that was that first step. And then eventually I just started charging, more and more, and, telling studios, hey, I can improve your students' attitudes, performance, their level. They started winning competitions, the word spread, and before you knew it, I was, making over $1,000 an hour just teaching dance,
So
50 countries. So it's a long journey for sure, but definitely worth it.
Yeah. How did you cultivate that mindset? Because I think when I think about artists, like me being a musician as well, there's this starving artist mentality, right?
Yeah.
It's a struggle, it's the hustle, it's all of those things, and it can take you out of the game. At least it took me out of the game for a long time. So how did you keep your mindset in check, and how did you keep going?
I always knew, just from books and online mentors, if I just kept going, if I was just persistent, consistent with the small little things in life, over time I would see results. Maybe it's not going to happen overnight or in a year or 2 years, but I'd always watch these other famous dancers struggling and trying to make it on the TV show So You Think You Can Dance, and I saw them audition 5 or 6 times before they actually got on the show. And so it just taught me, just from observing their journey, hey, you just got to keep going, you got to keep learning, keep taking classes, improving yourself, improving your style, and then eventually you're going to make it. So I guess it was just from that and books and mentors.
So good.
Yeah.
So let's talk Instagram. So this guy literally, I know you travel, you've traveled, stayed at, 100 plus different hotels for free.
Yes.
And not just any hotels, 5-star luxury, super, over the top.
2,000 a night.
For free. And just using Instagram, just using your stuff. So tell us, how do you do that? Because, that's been a big thing for millennials. So many of us get to travel more, but to do it for free, give us the insider scoop on that.
Well, it's pretty simple, guys. Once you have a big following, you got to learn how to leverage the following because, like I said, it's that street cred, that social proof. So when you have that and you can, you message a hotel and you say, hey, I'm coming your way. I'd love to collaborate. This is my account. This is my network. I'd love to do an exchange, maybe a couple posts, some reviews, and even teach you something, teach you how to get your next 5,000 followers on Instagram. So it's that simple formula that I use that has got me over 170 nights for free in some of the world's best hotels in the world. So it's that. It's that value exchange because these hotels get maybe 50 emails a day, if you're in a hot spot like Maldives. So I usually just start off with an email, then I call the sales director. I'm like, hey, did you guys get my email? No, can you send it again? Boom, I'm sending now. What do you guys think? Because I'd love to collaborate and promote your hotel and give you guys content, give you guys posts, do reviews, and improve your social media strategy. So that's how it starts.
Yeah.
And then they actually just pay me for that. So I'm now a world traveling consultant for some of the top hotels in the world.
Yeah, and when you look at some of your accounts that you personally have, the ones that you manage, they're literally, for those that haven't seen, videos, pictures from so many exotic places. And is this for everyone? Can anyone essentially start doing it? I just got Instagram maybe 5 months ago, and so I've been fascinated by the world since then.
Yeah, anyone can do it, and the thing that I wanted to create, the angle, is that, okay, you don't need your own personal Instagram account, you don't need a huge network, and you don't have to use credit cards because I hate saving up and tracking all these points. So I actually have an academy called the Tribe Influencer Academy where it teaches bloggers, influencers, people how to live this digital nomad life, working from anywhere lifestyle, and travel for free. So by simply, joining our academy, they get access to our 12 million network just on travel, and they can leverage it and they can say, hey, I'm Melvin, I have a 12 million network, I'm coming to your hotel, let's do a deal.
I love how Zach's journey into finding himself began with his artistic expression. For so long as an artist and musician myself, it was the piece that I thought I don't really have time for that. Or only when I figured out what I was going to do with my life, or figured out my job, or learned how to make money, then was I going to make time for my hobby passion. And I find so often there are things in your life that are really fueling your creativity, and ultimately that will fuel your bank account. So what is it that you're compartmentalizing? What is it that you say you don't have time for? What is it that you can bring artistic expression into your life so you can use that fuel, use that as creativity to ignite your passion and really start creating exactly what it is that you're meant to be doing here in the world?
So simple as that.
Yeah, so awesome. So as you said, we were talking earlier, you weren't always the cool kid. You didn't always get to, go hit up hotels and travel for free and all that stuff. And so for someone that's hearing this, that's like, yeah, I want to do that, but I don't know if I have the confidence, or I don't know if that's, like quite my expression. How did you overcome that in your life? And I know you've been hit with a lot of challenge as well. And so what was that like?
I think it was when a girl told me at this leadership conference that what you have to say matters. You have important ideas, and don't be afraid of voicing your opinions. Because for too long, for many, many years, I was just I cared too much about what people thought of me. Yeah. And that's why I wouldn't speak in class, because my palms would get sweaty, I'd be super nervous, and I hated public speaking. But when she wrote me this little note of encouragement, it's doesn't matter, who cares? People don't even pay attention to that. Just say it, just talk, because if you do, you're going to change the world. And I just believed that, and that message just taught me, life is short. Just say what's on your heart, get your message out there, and who cares what people think. So it's don't be afraid of failing and what other people think. And then after rejection, yeah, someone's going to like you or accept you or pay for your service. But yeah, it's like that with all things in life, right? So many people are like, oh, I don't want to ask this girl out or this guy out because they think they're too cool or something. But who cares? Just do it.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I find for myself, no matter how much success I've had or how many different ways I've reinvented myself, that tape never necessarily goes away.
Yeah.
Is what I have to say valuable? It's oh, I want to release an album. Will anyone listen? Oh, I want to start a TV show. Will anyone watch? And then every time I take the action, the validation shows up.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I find that more than anything, when you're in the resonance of truth and alignment for what you have to say, that's really when your platform and your audience comes to you in a lot of ways. And it reminds me of when I was about 25, I had my quarter life crisis, which I don't know if you've experienced a shade of that, but literally I was the whole world is crashing down. I haven't made what I thought I was supposed to make, and I'm not far enough in my career, and there's not enough money in my bank account. And I was doing fine. But I mean, this imposter syndrome is something that as millennials I've personally struggled with, and imagine maybe you've experienced a shade of it. And so how have you related to this imposter syndrome? And what I mean by that is this deeper feeling of for some people it can be am I a fraud, or is this in their own experience with it?
Yeah, I think everybody goes through these they hear these lies in their head, oh, you don't have what it takes, you're not enough, you're not beautiful, you're not going to be successful. Everybody hears that from their own voice, and we're our own worst enemy. But also it's from the people that we love and we care about the most. Sometimes they're the ones that don't believe us, and they kind of try to knock and destroy our dreams. But I guess in my case, I was just so what, who cares, move on to the next. I'm gonna make this happen because I want to make it happen, and life is short, and I'm just gonna do it, and I don't care what anybody thinks, because if I want it bad enough, it's gonna happen. So it was also that, and then also learning how to listen to the no's, because we hear a lot of no's, but then sometimes it's not always good to ignore them, but take it with a grain of salt and be okay, well, what is this person really trying to say? Maybe he's right. And just asking for feedback, and then just keep going.
Yeah, so good. One thing I love that Zach's talking about here is the concept that I call the full-bodied yes. So those kinds of yeses that we say yes to, the obligatory yeses or the should yeses. It's when your significant other says, hey, can you help do some yard work this weekend? Or a friend's hey, do you want to go out, and you're really exhausted? Or your boss is hey, can you come in early? I found that when you actually only say yes to those 10 out of 10, those full-bodied yeses, where a friend's like, want to come on an all-expense-paid trip to Cabo, that those are the ones that actually are in the most alignment and ultimately create the biggest opportunity for you. So notice and bring awareness to where are you yesing yourself, and inside of that, saying no to the not hell yeses and really embracing those 10 out of 10s. Yeah, so I love you touching on that. And so I'd love to, wrap up here with having a little bit of, practical tools for those hearing this that really want to get started on this Instagram journey, on this travel journey. I know you've given us a lot of great advice, but for someone that literally could pause this interview, go right now and start to make improvements on their account to make them, a step forward or closer towards being an influencer, what steps would you recommend, or what practical things can people do right now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, guys, like, the way to, just do this and do it fast and do it now is just to start and to do it. But also, like, you can shave off a ton of time from your learning curve by just finding, like, online mentors, like, people who've been there, done that. Like, if you just hit them up and be like, hey, like, can you teach me how you do this and share all of your secrets for free, you're never going to get a reply, right? But if you can figure out, like, and look within, like, hey, what kind of value, what can you offer this person in exchange? Because each one of us has a story, each one of us is fighting a battle, and each one of us has, like, amazing talents and skills to share with the world. So share those and make an offer to these people, do an exchange, and they're going to help you with, whether it's blogging, whether it's videography, doing this stuff full time. So, I mean, that's my biggest tip is, like, just focus on relationships and expanding your network and giving free value.
Yes.
Over and over again, and then they're going to give you, like, some tips and stuff in return.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. And as millennials, like, our network currency is stronger than any monetary currency that I've experienced. The ability to literally call someone up like, hey, Zach, I've got a day before I fly into Guatemala, like, let's shoot this interview in Newport Beach. Like, having those kinds of leverage and connections is where I invest a lot of my time and money. And, over and over again, I've experienced the returns. Yeah,
because life is about people. Yep. And then eventually, maybe you don't see the money in the beginning because you're, like, so focused on getting money and trying to sell. But when you just focus on relationships and adding value, just eventually those relationships and things make you a lot of money anyways. And that money could be, currency, or it could just be time, right? It could be both.
So good. Yeah. One of the things that I love about Zach's story and how he travels the world for free reminds me of the concept of value. For so long, this old model has taught us that the only value is cash, right? I remember my dad saying, cash is king, and that's currency. But now you can leverage your influence, you can leverage your story, you can leverage your voice to create value. In exchange, there's no barriers to traveling, staying at 5 stars, and in that exchange, getting these great places for free. So ask yourself, even if you're not a huge influencer, even if being an influencer isn't your game, what is the thing? Where can you add value? And chances are it is in some way, shape, or form available to you right now. So challenge yourself. What value do you want to bring today? Yeah. So what does living the unconventional life mean to you?
Doing whatever I want, when I want, and helping the people that I love and I care about. Because like I said again, life is about people. I try to put people first. I try to do the things that I love to do, that I dream about of doing, and I just do it because this world's amazing, right? So we got to explore it.
Yeah. So good. Zach Benson, everyone, with Assistagram. We'll have all the links in the comments. Zach, thanks so much for chatting with us. Unconventional Life family, tuning out from Newport Beach.